Yeah, okay, let me go to slash from beginner. Okay, yeah, good day once again, guys. So today is week 6, and this will be what we'll be talking about in class today. Our agenda for today, we're going to do recap from last class, which I forgot to add in the slide. But basically, it's just Terraform. Then we're going to do introduction to configuration management. We're going to talk about some of the popular tools, um, push versus pull system. We're going to do let's get started. Yeah, we're going to do introduction to Ansible. We're going to do YAML. Then we're going to do Ansible Playbook. Then we're going to the lab part. So configuration management, again, it's a process for maintaining computer system, servers, and software in a desired and consistent state. You know, when I first started DevOps, I was a little bit confused with configuration management tools like Ansible with Terraform, you know, which I also like add. I think I added a slide in this PowerPoint about the two so that you don't get confused with them. You know, they are completely different things. You know, I mean, the again, Ansible now they also do infrastructure as a code now. You know, they have it as part of what they offer now. That's Ansible. But, you know, mostly Ansible is known for configuration management. And again, you know, don't let me jump to that yet. Again, configuration management is just a management system where you maintain the configuration of your computer, the software, you do all those things, put them, make sure they are updated, you know, all the, we have a server running. There are a lot of things that will be on the server, you know, maybe the application that's running, some dependency, a lot of dependency. It could be Git, it could be Java, it could be a lot of things, AWS CLI. So you want to be managing all those things because every time the configuration change, you get new updates, new version, everything. So how do you maintain them? In organization, they have system like maybe a lot of them, you know, maybe 20 systems that they have to put all those applications that will be running, you know, so how to maintain all those things manually, it's very tedious, you know, because literally you have to log in on each of the system, or maybe you want to update the Java application that's there, or you want to do some things, you have to, you know, log in manually there before you do that. Assuming you have like 20, they are running 20 servers and they have different applications running on them, on those. So it's difficult to do all those things manually, especially working at a large scale. That's what configuration management in DevOps is. You know, it's about the application. You know, just on like on your computer. You know, you have a lot of application running, Zoom applications there, maybe Microsoft Team, this, that, Netflix, or whatever. So to your browser too. So those are the work of configuration management, manage all those applications for you in, again, like a code. So that way it's easier to, again, yesterday, myself and Yomi, you know, was having problem with the running the, I think the Tomcat server to do the deployment. So that's what happened when we do things manually. Okay, I do it on my computer. Now everything work. I move to another computer. It might be difficult to replicate the same thing, especially when you have a lot of things you set up, different things you like do the installation. It's difficult to manually do all those things in a consistent way. So, and again, not to talk of the time it takes to be doing them one by one, and maybe you have 20 systems you have to install, maybe Tomcat server or whatever. So now I have to be doing them one by one like that. And again, you will not be 100% consistent doing it the same way with this and another way. That's why they have all those tools like configuration management. Just write it as a code, make sure it works, you know, put it like, again, like a script or code, you know, everything's work, just run it against everything 100%. everything will run perfectly. They will be in the same condition. So it's a very, very powerful practice tools in the industry. Then we're going to see detail for that. So why configuration management? Again, the primary benefit of that is consistency in system and software. Again, like I said, I mean, a lot of you guys, most time, oh, this thing doesn't work. Okay, I'm running into this error. That is the problem doing things manually. Assuming we have like a script or like this thing that we just put everything, you just say, okay, run this, everything will be 100% done and in a consistent way. So again, that is the best way to like install software, do stuff, and again, yeah, so the consistency part of it is very key. Configuration management can improve efficiency because manual configuration, like I said, doing it manually, it takes time, it's prone to error, and that's why configuration management is a better way to do things. It is possible to manage more targets with the same or fewer resources. Again, like I said, in those companies, they have like 20 different servers or more than that, or maybe 10, running. They want to do the installation of those applications. Now imagine doing those things manually. And again, in organization, they do way more than what we are doing. They will do DNS, all those things we put IP address, they do DNS, they will put maybe load balancer in front of it. They will install certificates for security. Like if you see most of our server, we just access it on HTTP, which is very unsecure. In organization, they want to do that on HTTPS port. That is a more secure protocol for HTTP. So, and that requires like having the certificate and all those things. There's a lot of things you need to do, when you are doing installation. I've been installing SonarCube on one of our server at work. It's been, very back and forth because one, I don't even have access to the root user on that Linux machine I was using. So every time I just run into permission problem, I can't do sudo because they wouldn't give me the root password. It's been very, today I was able to get to make progress on the installation, but running the application again, it was giving some error. Then I later found out that it's some memory situation, and I back to permission again. I'm supposed to have permission to the root directory, which I supposed to the SonarCube supposed to write some file to, but the permission the user I was using doesn't have that permission. So I just had to like stop that, and they just report to my boss. So, but again, those things, it takes time to do all those installation. I was just doing it on a test server, just a test server. I still have to do the same thing on a production server, which would be a more the ideal one. So again, doing those things repeatedly manually, it's not the best way to do installation, and it's prone to error. It takes time, and again, better collaboration. Also, now you have everything in code. Again, you're not the only one working in the team. People, okay, you put it in a GitHub or whatever. Anybody can access it, make changes in that configuration file, do things there, add to whatever you write or whatever, or make some correction. It's easier that way. You collaborate, you do a teamwork. So, and idempotency, again, we talk about this in Terraform, that, when you run Terraform and Terraform deploy your application, deploy your EC2 or maybe load balancer, VPC. If you run it again, do Terraform apply again, Terraform will not try to, unlike when you are doing script, when you are writing script, normal script, Terraform will know that you already have this thing in place, so it will not do anything. It will not make any changes. It will not do anything. It knows that this thing is the same thing as it was before. The same thing with configuration management like Ansible. if you run it multiple times, if you don't make any changes there, it will not add anything to your computer. It will know that this thing is there before, so I don't have to do anything. So if there's now if you now made some changes in maybe just one of the tasks that you wrote, you make a little bit change, then you apply it. It will only apply that change you made. So those are very, very important and very powerful things. You can be rest assured that if you apply your script, it's not going to like duplicate what you've done before, or trying to install two application on your this thing. Even if you run it 10 times, it will be the same thing. And that's idempotency, So just good thing to know. So these are some of the popular configuration management tools. Red Hat, Ansible. Ansible is owns by Red Hat, or controlled by Red Hat. So it's Red Hat Ansible, which is again the most popular that I'm aware of. Is very popular. Puppet too is popular. Chef is very popular as well. Then Salt Stack. So something about this Ansible, they call this, so Ansible, in case of Ansible, these two, Puppet and Chef, which I think I've used a few times. Puppet and Chef, basically, again, you don't really need to stress yourself trying to know all this, don't use that strength or that brain to do something better. Just know one and know it very well, then you'll be good. Anyway, you just mention that this is the one you've worked with and this is the one you're familiar with. Again, different company with different this thing. Nobody will expect you to be 100% be using the same thing they are using, but you have something similar, like alternative, especially the popular one. At least most company will use Ansible. Of course, I've seen company that they say they use Chef. You'd be like, okay, I have idea of how it was, but I've not worked with that. I've only worked with Ansible. So again, Ansible is very popular, owned by Red Hat. It works based on push base. Again, one big difference with Ansible why it's more preferred is, I think I have a slide on that, is agentless. So it doesn't have agents. There's this thing we are using at my job, one configuration management. It's very unpopular, honestly. I don't know why they are using it. The client is using it. They call it UCD. It's owned by IBM, or Bank Code Deploy. So those that one as agent, use agent. What that means is that you have like all the servers that you want to control, because what happened in configuration management tools is that there will be one central server that will be controlling everything. So you have one server sitting right in front of you, then other server you want to maybe install Apache on top of or install Java on maybe 10 other server. You have a master server, then you have other, which would be node. They used to call it slave, but they don't call it slave now. And I think they call them node. So the master will be controlling them. The controller or the master will be controlling other ones. So it will say, okay, install this thing on all the 10 server. Automatically, it will be installed. So in case of agents, most of them use agent, like that one I talked about, UCD. Puppet to uses agents. Chef, I'm not too sure, but I think so too. So agent, it means that all the server you want to control, all the, okay, let me say slave or node, all the external server you are trying to control, they must be running a particular, like a small application. They call it agents. It's not like a big application like that, to just be a very small, but they must be running it before they can communicate with the master. So all of them, they must have that agent running on them before master can communicate with them back and forth. And that's how some of them work. But in case of Ansible, Ansible is agentless. You don't need to install anything. You don't need to install Ansible on other machine. You only need to install Ansible on the master. So the master alone will control the other ones. So again, Ansible is the popular one. I think I have a diagram that kind of explain this thing I was talking about. So we get into that. So these are very popular tools that are in configuration management tool. So Ansible is an open source community project sponsored by Red Hat. Okay, sponsored by Red Hat. So it allows you to do this automation. We're talking about configuration management. And again, it's very powerful. You can do so many things with it, complicated things and stuff like that, depending on the requirement. So Ansible allows you to configure not just one computer, but potentially a whole network of computers at once. Just running at once. You can install things on like 20 computers. You can delete things from there. You can copy file. You can do a lot of things, remotely while sitting on just one computer, one server. So it's very, very powerful. It doesn't require any programming skill, of course. It's not really programming like that. So one of the things we're going to talk about, so let me talk about this and the architecture first. So again, this is what I was talking about. In the middle here, you see the Ansible here. These are other computers. This is computer, of course. This is the one controlling them. So this one is the one they call master or controller. So these are like the node or, maybe the slave, the name they call it before. So it could be, this just representing 4 computers there. In the real life, it could be 10 computers you want to control. So here, this is where you run all the script. You write the script, you run it. The only thing you need is you need to allow the master to communicate, because Ansible communicates over SSH. So again, I'm sure you are still familiar with SSH, secure share, which is a secure way to transfer information. So that's the protocol that Ansible uses. So you need to establish that connection between each of them to communicate over SSH connection between all the server. I think that's the hardest work to do there. And I'm sure there's a better way there's even, we're going to do it, we're going to do it in the way I know how they do it anyway. So, but I'm sure there'll be a better way of exchanging the SSH public key. So you need to do that on each of the server to make sure that the master can communicate with each of the node over SSH. So again, the only way where you have to install Ansible is the master, which is this. We're going to have one computer that will be a master. So that's the only place we are going to install our Ansible. We're not going to install it on all this at all. So, and we'll be controlling them. We'll say, okay, install this on all the server, or you can select any tool you want, install this on this tool and install this on this. You can do a lot of, interesting stuff. Then, so these are the this is like the architecture for Ansible, and the master controls everything. So then we have what we call a playbook, which gives like which define the task that will be done. We're going to write a playbook, briefly, just a small one. Then you're going to see. Then this is very important to the inventory file. When we install our Ansible, you see how the host inventory looks like and how we can set it up. So for the host inventory, by default, this represents what machine it manages using a very simple init file. Init file is just something like this. There's nothing big there to the right. So that puts all of your managed nodes in group of your own choosing. This file by default is located in this directory. Once you install Ansible, again, you are going to see the template here. So what they are saying here is that here you need to, like, for example, get all the names of all this, or IP address, like you see here. This is the IP address of all the node that Ansible will be controlling, that our master will be controlling. So if the master, we have them stored in a place, in a directory, which we are going to see where to store that. So it will store everything there, and then it will know how to get any one of them, that, okay, this is tempo and this is this is that. So Again, this is very important, this thing. Again, some features of Ansible, it communicates over SSH, it's agentless. And again, SSH is very secure way of communicating because, in the real world, you need to be sure just before you do stuff like this, bad guys can just intercept all your traffic along the way. So, that's why SSH is very secure protocol to do all those transfer. So again, it's agentless. Again, let me go a little bit back again. You don't need to install anything on all these compared to like Puppet or some other configuration management tools. Puppet, for example, you need to install the agent here. You need to install Puppet agent here. You need to install the same thing here, do that here, which is like extra step, and it's not too effective like that. Some people have concern about that. Again, the one I'm working with at my job is UCD. It has the same agent too. So you have to install the agent on all the machines that you want to control, basically, before they can talk to the master one. But in case of Ansible, you don't need to install anything on all the node. So Ansible, we already know once you provide the inventory file like this. So it's agentless, which is very key, so it uses YAML syntax for playbook, which you are going to see how a playbook look like. This is a playbook, and like this is like the main structure of Ansible, which defines everything. Again, just see playbook like a shell script. Remember when we are running some of our command, sudo apt-get install, you press enter, do this. Then I wrote a script for installing, I think, Jenkins. The same thing like playbook is more like that too. All these command, you can run them on Ansible command line, like Ansible, this thing, ping. You can run a lot of Ansible this thing on a command line manually, like, okay, Ansible, copy this file to this file, you can run them on it. But using playbook allow you to organize them in unit by unit task, different ways. Again, this is how a YAML template look like, and I'm going to go a little bit to try to explain it so that you can at least understand what YAML is. It's not that difficult actually. It's to me, it's just the indentation is very strict with indentation, which is the spacing. You see how everything is aligned. Just all those basic things. Apart from that, the main thing, if you can read this, you can understand those things. A lot of things will make sense to you. You don't really need to cram anything literally. You can really come up with things on your own, do a lot of things. So again, these are the syntax for playbook. One of the key things there is, this host. So you can define host here. Host, again, is the name of our node, the one that Ansible will control. So here we are saying all, or you can specify anyone you want to. Maybe you only want one of them to do that. So, host, we are just saying all the host. That's everything that is connected to Ansible, that Ansible has in control of. That's what the host is. Host all. Then become yes is just like root privilege. It's kind of optional if you don't need root privilege to do the installation. Here they are just trying to install Nginx. Nginx is it's like Apache web server or stuff like that. So so they're just trying to install Nginx. Then here they are trying to apply a template. This is the source destination. Then here they're trying to allow rules as well on the port. They can do a lot of things with it. Very similar to what we are doing with Terraform, opening port and stuff like that. So, but again, mainly we're just going to go with the configuration part. But the task is the main body of a playbook, Ansible playbook. And again, one thing I can just note here, even before we go to the YAML itself, is like, once you say dash like this, dash like this, dash like this, it's very, very important with YAML template. This basically means array or list. We call it list, and like Python call it list, most other language call it array, but this thing is just telling you that these are lists, and you see here it says tasks with S. So it's saying that you can define this one is one of the tasks, starting from this name to here, this is another one. So once you see all those dash, 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 it just means list, they are list. So that means you can have multiple stuff. Same thing, this host says all here. You can have another dash that will say host again, then it will have another name. So you can have them like that. So once you have those, and again, YAML works in key value pair, key on the left, the value on the right. So there will be a key, there will be a value. Name, Kenneth, profession, DevOps engineer, the same thing, very similar to that. That's what they call key and value. Age, 25, all those things. That's key value pair, and the same thing with what they are just doing here. There's nothing. Another one is what they call like dictionary. Like this var now. These are the children. Again, the indentation is very, very key in YAML. This var now. All these are under var. So var, it's a vars. It could be variable. It's a predefined word in Ansible, so don't really bother about that, but that's the key. Then the value are all these guys. So the value itself, it's a key and value again. So, but this is more like dictionary kind of things, again, key and value too. So when we're going to look at a very simple example of YAML, and then you see, but again, this is how Ansible Playbook is. You see it's different from Terraform. We are using curly braces up and down. Again, these are still kind of very similar syntax, just that different ways of doing them. This, instead of using those curly braces, it's more like indentation stuff. If you are under this, this task, that these three of them, they are under task, because if you see the space here, that task is kind of, just like when we're in school, it'd be like one, then you have 1A, 1B, 1C, then, maybe in some this thing complicated, you can have 1A1, 1A2, stuff like that. These are very similar to this, to those stuff that we're doing when we're in high school. So, but again, just to give you some perspective on how YAML is very important. Kubernetes, that's what it uses, another, yeah, okay. So, yeah, so Ansible versus Terraform, just want to talk about it again. They are not like a rival, or, they are not really in the same space like that. They serve the same purpose. Ansible is primarily used as configuration management, while Terraform is for infrastructure as a code. So, and again, I gave an example in the second column, like Terraform will provision your EC2, VPC, load balancer, all the resources you see on AWS, resources, we're talking about now, not application, resources. Terraform will do that. Okay, I want to do provision S3 bucket, I want to do EC2, everything. That's the work of Terraform. Ansible will install application on them. It will manage those applications for you. So, for example, on your distance, you just want to install Jenkins, or you want to install a Tomcat server, you can write it in Ansible as a playbook, and you just run it on maybe 10 server or whatever. So, yeah, so just, again, don't get it confused, get used to that, and then don't mix things together. If you are taking interview and they ask you, what is this for? And you're talking of something else, they just laugh. So, yeah, so today lab agenda, we're going to do just see YAML briefly, and then we're going to install Ansible on a controller. Again, the way I want to set up this lab is we're going to have 3 EC2. One will be controller, then the 2 of them will be the node, which will be like the servants. So we're going to establish SSH connection. This will be a little bit confusing to most of you, but again, there's one thing that we even also want to show in what's it called, in Git, about all this SSH connection. It's very important, and so just try to understand it again. So we're going to run Ansible Playbook and try to install something on our remote server, on our node server. So yeah, so that would be our agenda. Any question before we go to the lab part? Any question, guy? No question. You guys understand what Ansible is? Okay. If you notice when we are doing git clone, again, this is just a side, but because we are talking of SSH, and when I started working, I was like, okay, I couldn't clone git repo. In most company, I want to show what I'm talking about. Okay, on my git, okay. This is my GitHub repo now. So, for example, and you are working on a project, you have, you want to clone the repo. If you remember, then we used to do git clone, we just do git clone. Hope you guys can see my terminal.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, okay, thank you. Yeah, so remember, we want to do git clone, we come here, we just do git clone. You see, we are cloning it over HTTPS. In most companies, they don't clone it over HTTPS. They will have to clone it over SSH. So if I click on SSH option now, this is what I will have to copy. So I will still do git clone, but not using this default one. Most companies, they want you to clone it over this, which I learned that when I was working in a distance. So if I do git clone now, let me see if I'll be able to clone it over SSH. So you see it throws an error, and it talks about public key and stuff like that. So by default, you'll not be able to do this. So there are things you need to do before you can clone this over SSH. Let me try it if it will work. Sometimes it will. So to do the first, you need to exchange your key. In SSH, they used to have two keys, the private key and the public key. So the private key will be on your computer, on the computer that want to establish the connection. So because now what I'm trying to do is that, again, this is what I do in real job, and when you want to clone this thing in the real world, you have to do this. So if you go here, let me see. I think profile. Yeah, let me go to my profile. No, not my profile. Okay, let me just click on my there's this thing. Okay, hold on. Let me go to settings. So if I go to settings now, then here you see SSH. So you see SSH here. So now on my terminal, what I will do is that I will do SSH key gen. So SSH key gen is just a way to like generate a key on your computer, or the computer that you want to connect with the other one. What I'm trying to do basically now, I'm trying to connect my computer. I'm on my computer. You see this download now. I'm on a download folder. You can do this on your what's it called, on your Git bash or anything. So I'm trying to make SSH connection to my GitHub account so that I can clone my repo, because now I can't clone it. I can only clone it on over HTTPS protocol. But again, most company, you won't be using HTTPS to clone a Git repo. It will be SSH, and you don't want to. They will expect you to. It's something you can Google as well and see how it's done. But what you first do is that you do SSH key gen. So SSH key gen, basically it will just generate a key for you, SSH key for you, which you will give GitHub. So let's see what we got. So it's telling us that, okay, which file. So I'm just going to put it as default. So basically it's going to generate it under this directory. That's what it's saying. So I'm just going to hit enter. So passphrase, I don't want that, I will leave it empty. I will leave it empty. So that's it. So just SSH key gen, and that's it. So what are we going to do now? So by default, it will generate, to create a folder called .ssh. Again, it's hidden folder. You'll not see it by default. So I will run and it will be in my root directory, matter of fact. So I will do cd, sorry, I will do cd going to my home. Again, I can just go to home. I can say cd, I'm in home now. If I do ls, that's la, I should be able to see .ssh, which is here. This is where it generates the key. So I'm going to cd, this is a file, this is a folder, but it's hidden folder. That's why I start with .ssh. You see the AWS we used the other day. So many things, many applications are like that. They will like create those hidden file for you. Again, you can see this on my computer if I go to my file explorer. But I'm going to cd into that .ssh. Then let me clear my screen. So let me ls and see what is there. So when I run that SSH key gen, it generates this two key for me. This is the private key that you shouldn't share with anyone. Then this is the public key that you will share with whoever you want to like initiate the distance to. So again, these are these two. This is the main two file you need to do. So I'm going to cut it now. Cut id underscore rsa.pod. I want to see the file. I want to see what is inside this thing. So you see it's a lot of gibberish, but trust me, you're going to need this. So I'm just going to copy it right here all the way to this place. I'm going to copy it, then I'm doing Control-C like that. So over on my GitHub now, I'm right here under settings, then I'll go to new SSH. I'll give it any name, my SSH. I'm not that creative. Then, you see it's already give you syntax, stuff like, again, there's no file here, just like it. So I'm just going to do Control-V here. So I pasted that key here now, then I'm just going to do add key. So I added the key now. So hopefully with this, I should be able to clone my Git repo over SSH. Let me go to my Git repo again. Repository. So let me say I want to clone this. So I'm just going to, again, you can, again, playing with GitHub, you can just clone over this thing. I'm talking of real world scenario now. You want to like clone over SSH, so I'm going to copy the SSH part, which is this. Then I'm going to my terminal, and then I don't want to copy it. So let me do git clone. Hopefully it will allow me to clone it now. So you see, I was able to clone this repo now, and it's been cloned into my computer because of this SSH key that I exchanged. So if I didn't do this, you saw when I ran the command previously that it gave me an error that, I don't have a public key or whatever. So you'll not be able to do that, something you can try on your own. You see, this will throw you an error. If you try to clone it over SSH, you do git clone and you select this option, it will throw you error unless you do the process I just did now. Again, you go to your settings, on the left, you see the SSH. This I can delete it and just create another one. It's nothing. It will not take you anything. I can decide that I want to generate another key. This video will be going on YouTube. I don't want to. Again, so if I do SSH key gen again, it will just generate another one. Then I will use that or whatever. So again, it's very straightforward. But just to, again, it's a little bit diversion from what we're doing, but we're going to do similar stuff with Ansible as well. And I just think I should let you see how this works, because I use this as my daily. Again, you only need to do this once, of course, but just once, that's it. Then you'll be able to work with your SSH, which is more secure than doing git clone over HTTPS. Any question, guys, over SSH? Yeah, okay. Yeah, I think it's pretty much straightforward. And again, that is how to establish that connection between the distance. So this is YAML. I don't know if this is the official page, but if you go here, YAML just means yet. No, YAML ain't markup language. That's the meaning. So that you don't need to bother about the meaning. The main thing, it's human friendly. As you can see, standard of programming. As you can see from the sample that we showed during the presentation, you can read some things. I mean, you may not really understand them for now, but it's something you can read word. Unlike recoding that you want to, you never understand anything if you see some C shell or whatever. So let's go to /start. Then if I do /start now, so if I do /start, so yeah, this is a very simple YAML syntax, and I will explain some of the basic one. In most cases, you want to start YAML with 3 dash like this, 1, 2, 3. Matter of fact, let me copy this in Visual Code to make it a little bit more readable. So I'm going to create a folder on my computer. Then I'll call it Ansible Lab. Okay. This Terraform. No, okay. Let me open a folder here. Okay, new folder. Then I'll call it, it's inside my desktop, right? Okay, I'll call it Ansible Lab. So we're going to be using this lab to write some of our, again, but for now we're just doing.
We can't see your VS Code.
Are you serious? Wow, I'm sorry, guys. I thought it was showing that. Okay, sorry. Yeah, thanks for noticing that too. I literally, I've been talking to myself. Oh my God. Yeah, okay. But you could see the gate I was doing the other time, right?
Yes, we saw that.
Okay. Okay, yeah, thanks for noticing that. I'll just be talking to myself. Okay. Yeah, you can see it now, right?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So basically, I just created a folder with the name Ansible name. So yeah. So I'm going to create a file right here. Yeah, this is a file. And I'll call it YAML. No, YAML is not a good name to use. Let me just say test. Dot. So YAML again, just like most language end with Terraform ends with .tf, YAML ends with YAML with YAML, or you can do YML too. Sometimes it will still recognize it as YAML. So if I do YAML, so I'm writing a YAML template, and my VS Code will definitely notice that, and it will be able to even help you. So let me just put that sample, the one we saw on this thing, and just explain this further. Again, like I said, it works with key and value pair, nothing much. This is a basic syntax. This is not Ansible or anything, but they follow similar pattern. The ability to read some of all these things is very, very important, and it will help a lot. Even reading it, maybe someone has written the code before, you have to modify it, make changes there. If you can't read it, it will be a problem. You don't even know what to change. You don't know where to what to. It's very, very important. So again, it works with key value pair. Normally, it's always starts with 3 dash like this on top. That is because YAML kind of accepts you can have different, you can have, after this now, you can have another YAML. You can have another template completely, like this, and start writing another thing, another YAML template. In Kubernetes, they do that a lot, they put a lot of deployment together inside one YAML. They just separate it with dash dash. So it will see it as like 2 different scripts combined together. Once you see dash dash like this, 3 dash separating them, it's kind of optional. It's not going to throw you an error if you don't do it, if you don't put it there, but just to tell you this is the beginning, and again, this is just a comment. You don't have to really worry about. And for comment as well, you can use I believe you can use hash symbol or pound symbol, as they call it. So again, you see key value. This is a key. Invoice, this is the invoice number. Date, this is the date. That's how YAML. So now let's get to, okay, build to, this is like ID or whatever. So build to this information you are seeing now, all these, they are under it. So all these are under it. Address to all the children, address as all these children. How will you know? The indentation. So this says address, then it put a column there, then it start giving more information line. This just says that this has multiple line. That's what this sign is for, that this is a multiple line. I mean, you can basically just say, just use this line. You can do stuff like this, and just put everything together. But you want to put address in different line as a best, but it's the same thing as just doing like this, line, or maybe name will be here, stuff like this. So again, these are under address. As you can see, the indentation, the spacing, let me use the word spacing. So you having children under children, this build to as given name, family name, with a value, this value, family name, or maybe last name, you can say last name. But again, because I understand it, that's why I can be doing all the small changes there. Again, this is not a script or anything, just giving you conceptual interpretation. Then, again, this address has another 4 key and value again, which are like children to address. And you will know by the indentation, if you put this now, for example, you throw this all the way here. So it will literally throw you error, because it will think that address, once you put something like this, it was expecting a value there, right? Now you have the next one, you don't even have a value there. And so stuff like this will throw you error. So you need to really understand some of all this template very well, and make sure if the line, if you put, for example, the name is here, and you maybe run the code or anything, it will throw you an error that something is not right. So it's very important. You see how everything is aligned. You know that address has all this. Ship to as well, products. So this is where this is a list. So once you see stuff like this, it means list. Again, list is very, very powerful in programming. You see it in every, in many programming, they represent it as like square bracket like this. Name, age, class. So this is what they call list. But in like YAML and in most object language like this, they used to, if you once you see that dash, know that this is a list. What that means is that those are multiple things there. That means that this product as this is 1, this is 2. So for me now, reading this thing, I know this is a list. I can come here now that, okay, maybe I want to add another thing to this list. I know that I can have multiple stuff. Again, this SQS, everything, they are one list. All this, they are another list. So list is mostly represented there. So I can come here now that since I know this is it, I can just come here, get another list here. Maybe I want to add to the product. I want to add more stuff to the product. Then I'll make sure I have my indentation perfectly, add another thing. Maybe I now want to change it instead of BL. Now, maybe I now have AG, stuff like this. Then quantity here will be 5 now, and this is how you edit code in real life. You make changes, you do this, but you need to understand some of all these concepts and what things are. If not, it's not going to work. So, but again, once you see lists like that, just know that once you see dash iPhone, that's a list, and it has multiple. In some language, they will put S here deliberately, so that that product has multiple things under it. These are very in Kubernetes. You see a lot of this very well. You see list, you see object or this thing. So, but some doesn't have list. It will just have a value directly. Products, new products. It will just be simple like that. But products. You see, this is open. You know that all these are under it, and you literally have 3 products under it. That's what this thing is telling you. 1, 2, 3. So, those are some of the things. It's just good to note. Again, tax is another object. You see this invoice, date, bill, they are under the same line. So basically all of these, they are different independent objects. They don't have anything to do with each other. It's just, a description. Just like I was saying then, in school, they will say animals, animals. Let me see if I can be a little bit creative. Then under animals, you can have wide. So under wide animal, you can have, you can have lion. You can have let me say super wide. Let me just,
herbivores.
Thank you. We can have herbivores, so under herbivores too. So herbivores, we have something. Maybe you now want to say goat. Under I know goat is not herbivores, but something like this. So under that, you now have carnivores again or stuff like that. So you have carnivores. I can't remember the right of this thing. Okay, carnivores. So so carnivores too. Maybe this would be lion now. So then I come again. I did for wild animal here now. So now I'm doing like what's it called?
Domestic.
Domestic, exactly. Domestic, good. Thank you. Domestic. So domestic too, it will have all those children, like that. Those are how this thing works. And once you understand this concept, you'll be very what you are doing. And once you see things like this, you'll be able to. So this can be list, this can be like a list. This can be like a list, So again, just understand key value. That's how they work. And, it's very powerful. Again, I really don't know how much to explain again, but, just with practice and once you see it, again, there are many tools that use YAML. YAML is very popular, and yeah, it's very popular. If you know it, you'll be good. Even Kubernetes, this is what it uses, and I think Dockerfile. I think, yeah. So Ansible too uses that. So yeah, just a side note, and I think it's worth to emphasize on that. So that's why I'm doing this. So enough of talk. Let's see what we can do. Let's do lab. So now, so let me go to my, okay, so let me go to my AWS now, and then let's see what we can do. So now I have So I'm on my AWS console now. And what I want to do is I want to spin up 3 AWS server. So I'll come here now. Again, let's just stick to our Ubuntu. So we can use T2 micro. Then here I'll just go with 3 because I want them to have the same this thing. So okay, it may be considered to launch auto scaling. So yeah, again, these are another way to like put stuff in the distance. You can install things directly here from the from your user data. You can put a script here, like a shell script, just do apt install or whatever. So and then yeah, but so these are our server. Let me see. Then I'm going to give it a security group that has let me see. What does this security group has? Okay. Wait, let's select anything. Let me select this Apache. Yeah, so this Apache has 80, and 22 open, so let's just leave it that way. Then I'm going to use this keep here, and I'm going to launch. So basically I'm launching 3 instances now. So then I'm going to name them. I want one of them to be the master, and the other one it will control the other one. So I'll call it master. So I'll call one of them master, then I'll call one node 1. So I'll call the other node 2. Let me see. So let me just name it node 2. So basically, we have this 3 server. So this master will be controlling everything. Again, in the real world, you can have maybe 10 of them, that master will be controlling. But basically, master, this is where we are going to install the Ansible. We're not going to install anything on all these 2. We're only going to install stuff on Ansible on the master. So, but we're going to establish SSH connection between master and the 2 node, so that master can talk to the node. So let's see how we can do that. So I'm going to log into my master now. Then I'm going to install Ansible on that. So I'm going to put the script for the installation, and I don't know if anyone is following live now, but Ansible. So I'm going to put that in the team right now, so that if anyone wants to take a look. So, so let me do that. If I go to my team, this team, I'm going to put that on that file. Pretty much straightforward. The installation is not like when you're installing SonarQube or some other. I'm just going to upload the file. Hopefully, I know where it is. Okay. Yeah, you're going to see Ansible install on the team. So that's if you want to take a look. So, but again, the installation is pretty much straightforward, even directly from the. Again, it's like Terraform too. You're not going to see anything. So, sorry guys, some of you that like to see the like Jenkins, that you like to see the user interface, see what is going on. Some of others tools, you're not going to see anything. So
yeah, but I think there's one service I heard that you can
how?
created them GUI for Ansible. I think we read that Ansible something like that.
We can't hear you. I think you're this. Hello?
Yeah, no?
Yeah.
Yeah, I said I think there is a service that provides GUI for Ansible or something like
Yeah,
that.
yeah. There's Ansible Tower. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, there is.
Okay.
Yeah, there's Ansible Tower. But again, the main thing is writing the template. So even with Ansible Tower, you still have to like I've not really used that before actually. then you still have to know how to write the script itself, understand some of the most interview questions I've had on Ansible. It used to be, all those scripts like, okay, how do you do this? What is a role? What is Ansible role? We're going to talk about role next class. It's like more a way to organize Ansible together. Yeah, they used to ask that a lot in Ansible. Okay, how do you write your Ansible script and stuff like that? Again, in most interviews, they won't ask you to be writing Ansible script live on your distance. So then they will ask you some questions, very to just drill you to make sure that you really know it, or you just run them out. So
Okay.
yeah. So I'm on my master server now. So I'm going to connect to the master. So I want to use my item. You can use your distance too. But I think I have to be on my download directory. So I'm inside download, and I think I have the key. So I think we're good on this. So I can just do paste them. So I'm connected. Let me see. I don't think so I'm connected to my, let me clear my screen. I'm connected to my Ansible now, to my master node. Again, I
It's
don't
not
have,
your stuff is not showing.
are you serious again? Oh, okay. Just gonna this time. I think I was sharing the other time now. Okay. Is it showing now?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I just connected with the master node, so nothing serious, which is one. So on the master node, that's where we're going to install Ansible. We know, and that. So then let's see. I mean, the command are pretty much straightforward. Sudo apt install update directly from the documentation page. Then this. Let me do -y because I don't want to answer yes. This again, I put this thing on the, and we're good to go. So then I'm going to install the Ansible now. So I'm going to answer yes. And then Ansible will be installed. It's very straightforward. It's not like you're installing SonarQube or some. Yeah, so then again, we're only going to install on this machine. The other one, we're just going to establish a connection with them so that we can talk to them. So we have Ansible now. How do we know? Again, Ansible -f version shows the Ansible. So, this is very important, config file. This is where Ansible stores configuration file. We're going to examine that file and see what we got there. And it's more like work with Python based kind of. So I'm going to do Ansible Playbook as well. So we have a playbook installed as well. This is the version. So now, we'll talk about this directory. So let's see what we got there. So by default, once you install Ansible like this, it will create this folder for you, /etc/Ansible, which where most of the stuff is. So let's cd into that, cd into /etc/Ansible. So inside that directory, let me do a list and let's see what we got there. So we have the configuration config, ansible.config. Then we have the host. So you'll be working mostly with the host. This is where you will store all the host information, like the IP address for the host, these are the location where you put them. So an Ansible by default, once you initiate the Ansible do this, Ansible will look into this folder and say that, okay, well, yeah, where should I implement this thing? So let's examine that and let's see what is there. So I'm going to do vim host. It's a file, so you can't see into it. If you see into it, will throw you an error. So it's a file. So it doesn't end with any dots, but it's a file. So if I do vim this, so you see there's a lot of sample on how you can put your files and everything. So what we're going to do, we're not going to do anything complicated. We're just going to put our IP address here for the node, the IP address of the node. We're just going to, again, these are comments, once you see stuff like this is a comment. So you can't do anything with them. So again, these are just example. They're just showing you how you can arrange your inventory. These are what they call inventory file. So yeah, so I'm not going to do anything now because I want to grab the IP address. And I noticed that you need to be in the sudo to edit this file. If you're not in the sudo, it won't allow you to edit. So if I want to make changes, I will have to be run sudo. So yeah, please make sure you note that. If not, you won't be able to make changes on that file. So I will go back to my AWS. Can you guys see my AWS console?
Yeah.
Okay. So again, I was working on this master, so I will grab the IP address of this and the public IP. So I'm going to give Ansible that okay, these are where I want to make my connection to. So I'm going to do via. So okay. Then again, you can put this anywhere. All these are comments. You can delete them if you like. If you want to make it clean, but I don't really care. All these are comments. You can put the IP address anywhere. It won't really affect anything. So okay, I just want to give it a space. So then I gave one IP address already. Let me go to node 2. Then this is the public IP. Then I'm just going to put that here. Again, you can group them. For example, you have 10 IP addresses. You can group them, maybe 2 IP addresses in dev department. You can do stuff like this. And dev, you can do a lot of group. And this is what this thing is telling you in that example too. Again, a lot of info and things are there to make life easier for everyone. So now you can group them. I can put any name there. Maybe I have another 2 IP addresses that belong to another department. So I can do something like this again and say, okay, prod, so then I will put all the IP address here too. So from there, I can be making reference to, okay, this is what I want to do. But for now, let's just keep it simple. Again, we may not even have to do this or, whatever. So, but those are how you can make changes on the host file. And then, right now we only have two.
It seems that there's an error in the first IP address.
Okay, let me check again. It doesn't look like this because I see. Let me check. 3 dots.
Okay, it's correct. I thought it was 53. Sorry.
Okay. I copied directly. Yeah. Okay, you thought there was 5. Okay. Yeah, it was 3. Yeah, thank you for that. Anyway. Yeah, so I think we are good there. And I'm going to exit this. Again, if you don't do sudo, it will throw you error if you are trying to exit and make a changes. So this is the first stage now. So the next stage is this SSH now, again, which will kind of confuse some of you. That's why I did it with Git first. So I will run SSH key gem on this machine now. So SSH key gem like this. So it's asking that, okay, I will just accept everything as default. So it has generated the key. And again, the key, if I do ls, that's LA, you know, the key will be stored in this folder. There's a folder, hidden folder, .sh. So I will see there to .sh to see what we got there. Then I will do ls. So we have this tree file. This is the authorized key. This is the ID. This is the private. Then this is the public. This is the one we want to share with the other two servers so that they can talk to this guy over SSH. So this guy, let's cut it and let's see what we got there. ID.pub. So, you know, these are the files. This is what we need to give the other two servers so that they can talk to one another. So let's see, let's connect with one of them. I think I can do something cool here. I can tab. If you are doing this thing, you may not be able to do this if you're on your own. I mean, you can do that too, but to just have a different distance if you're on your Git bash. So, but now I just open another shell. So this is the one I was working with before. I want to connect through another one just to make it. So I want to connect with the node this time. So let me click on connect and just grab this. So let me make sure I'm inside the download directory again. Then let me paste this. So here I connected with the, again, don't mix it. This is the master that we're working on. And this is one of the one we're trying to connect. So the only thing we need to do here, let's see because by default you have this .ssh key. Let's see into that and let's see what we got there. .s. So again, this is another server. This is the second one we're trying to control. So I'm just going to do LSM. Then you have this authorized key. So this is the key that you will edit. Then you will copy this thing, just like we did on GitHub. We copy the public key, we give it to the GitHub. So this authorized key, that's where it says authorized keys. That's where you will put all those things. So I'm just going to do vim authorized keys. So you see there's one key there by default. Wow. I don't like this. Oh man, that's not good at all. Normally, if you do Command G, it should take you to the end of the file. But for some reason, I don't know what's going on. I'm doing using down arrow now, and I'm sorry, guys. I don't know if anyone knows how to get to the. What I'm doing is that I just want to get to the last stage, but the down arrow key, it's not working. For some reason, it's not working for me. And then I do come in Shift G. Normally, if you do Shift G in Vim editor, it should take you to the last line of the file. So, but nothing's working. So I think I'm there already. So I'm just going to add this. This is the public for the other one. I think this has to be there too. Yeah. Make sure you copy it correctly. No, it's not going to work. So I think I'm here. No, I'm here. So I'm just going to paste it right here. So I'm going to exit. I'm going to exit. Okay, yeah. So I just added, there will be one key that will be there by default, which is the, you see that one ends with my key name. So you just have to add the other one there. So I'm just going to do this. So this is one of the server, and trust me, I think I should be done with this server now. I don't have to do anything there. Let me see how I can close it. Okay, I can close it now. So let me connect with the other server, and then so I'll connect with the other server. Again, this is node 2, so we're trying to establish SSH connection over node 2 again. New tab. Okay, so let me see into my download again. Again, if you're on this thing, you can just open multiple this thing. On a Git bash, you can do similar things, but we open it as a window. So this one again, I will go to I will cd into .sh, so .ssh. And then if I do ls, the authorized key is there. So I will do vim authorized key. So you see the default one is there too. I don't understand this thing. Oh, I don't like to do this. That's very annoying. And nothing seems to be. I use Vim editor, but I don't know what's going on with this. I don't know. Yeah, I'm just going to paste this at the end of this file now. Sorry for doing this stuff like this. Okay. Okay, make sure you don't delete anything. Then did I copy the other one already? Let me see if I copy it. Okay. Okay, so I pasted again the master. That's the one I'm just pasting the distance to. So basically, so not okay, let it work. But again, we are done with this server too. So we can remove it. We can remove it. So we are back on our master. So basically, we just share it over the master. So we can go to our. So what we can do now is let's try and SSH into one of them now to know if our connection is working. So I'm just going to grab the public IP address of one of them. Let me see, one of the node. So this is node 1. Again, we are just connected on the master now. So I'm just going to do SSH, then the full name will be Ubuntu at, then the IP address, which is this. Yes. So you see where we were here before. Now I SSH into the other server. So now you see, just like when we're trying to do the distance. So I'm connected on the other server through the master now. That's what I'm doing. So I'm just going to exit, then I'll go out. So I'm back to my original server now. So that's what. So the SSH connection is working on the distance. So let me do that to the node 2 as well and try to SSH to it. So if I go to my item, then I do SSH Ubuntu, then I'll do this. So again, I will do yes. So again, this is the other one. You see the IP address is different. This is different from where we are now. So again, we SSH into the other one. I'm just testing to see if everything works well, but it looks okay. So I'm going to exit that. Exiting means that you are logging out from that server you are in. So I'm back to my master server now. So this is the master server, and we're able to establish SSH connection over both of them. So, so again, we only have master on this guy. We only have Ansible on the master. So let's run a very quick Ansible command, which is Ansible -m. Ansible has what they call modules, which are like a small script or like a defined language. I'll show you all those modules now. And this thing, one of them is ping. So I say ping all. So what I'm saying is that, okay, Ansible ping all my remote server. You see, it was able to ping the two IP address that you saw with the node. So that means we can connect with both of them. You know, I can say there's another one called command. I'll show you how I get some of all these command. Then I'll say man. I don't know if this, I don't know. I think this syntax is wrong. Maybe command. Yeah, maybe host name. Host name. Let me do host name. Yeah, I think I didn't get that. But basically, command will just allow you to run like a shell script over the remote server. But again, you know, we'll be writing a playbook, not stuff like this. So now, the main, okay, let me show you the modules now. These are modules for Ansible. Again, these are what we'll be using mostly depending on, let me show you the one I just used now, which is ping. If I do Control F, ping. If I do Command F, then ping. Okay. So if I search for ping now, you know, there are a lot of them that Ansible has. You know, I'm not sure you're only going to use very few of them. So ping, this is the one I was using. Ping, try to connect to host, verify a usable Python and return pong on sources. So if you want to see the usage, so ping, this is the usage in Ansible Playbook. So yeah, basically just give the command ping, then the name of the, so these are what they call modules in Ansible, and there are a lot of them. For example, the one we're going to use today, you remember, you know, when we are installing stuff on our Ubuntu server, we say apt get install, apt this install, you know, we're going to do that too, then you see how it works. But let's go to our server now. So let's go to our master server. This is the master server, you know, fresh and nothing is going on there. So again, I think I showed you the host file already and we added the IP address. So I think we are good to go. Let's just write a small Ansible playbook, then you see how it works. So again, you know, because I'm not on my local computer now, I'm on the Ubuntu server. So if I write it, we have to write it inside the VM editor, which is not too cool like that. So I'm just going to use my visual code to write it, then I'll just put it in. So because we are going to run the playbook right here. So let me go to my visual code. I'm going to remove this, or I can create another one. Let's create another file and call it Apache install Apache.yaml. So let me save it. So basically what we're trying to achieve before I get started is that we want to install Apache. You remember the Apache we use, maybe the first class or whatever that we just install with this thing. So, but we want to now install it with Ansible on the two servers that we have. Again, those two servers are just sitting there. We are on the master server now. Again, let me go back to my AWS. You know, we want to install Apache on these two servers via this master. We are only connected to this master right now, you know, so but we're trying to make installation on these two, this node 1 and node 2. That's the objective of what we're trying to do with Ansible Playbook. So I'm going to say our playbook look like. So again, the first thing, you can just put 3 dash to just tell you this way you get it started from. Then again, don't really need to invent the wheel. Some of the main this thing is, the first one is host. So it's asking you that what is the host, which host do you want to use? So we're just going to say all. We want to install it on all the hosts. Again, you may specify here, maybe put IP address of the host you want. Maybe you have 10 server on your Ansible inventory file, like the one we define. So you can specify that, okay, I only want this specific server to have Apache. Apache, I don't want other ones to have it. So here I'm just going to say all, because I want them to be on all the server. So the next one, which is, I think it's kind of this thing is become. So become is, again, these are templates for Ansible, which you can see I will show you on their documentation page. But, become basically is just telling it that, okay, you want to become a root user or what. So this will tell you that, okay, yes. So, but again, if you remember some of this thing that we used to, and then, I already made a mistake. This host should be a list. So host is a list, meaning that you can have many hosts at the end of the day. You can have another host, maybe later on, you can have another host like this. You can have another host again and give it another name. So once you see list like that, you can have multiple of them. It's not compulsory. Here we're only going to have a host column. So, but host is a list. And the main thing, the main body of this thing is what they call task. So task, it's a dictionary. So it has children. So task is like, okay, what is the specific thing you want to do on this thing? So the task will be, you can give it a name, then, you give it, you provide a module. So the name we're going to give it, it could be any name, you could give it any name. If I say name here, install Apache. Again, this could be any name, it doesn't matter, so under the name now, you want to define what they call the modules. So again, same thing with all the modules I showed here. So the modules we are going with is apt, because we are working on Ubuntu server. We want to install things there. If I go back to the documentation, you see, if I go to apt should be, let me just search. Command F, apt. So apt allow you, just like when we are doing apt install, sudo apt install, the same thing, we are trying to achieve here. So apt allow you see package app manager, if I click on it, so this is the main place where you see the distance. So you can just say apt, then provide the name of what you want to install. You see the sample, matter of fact, this is the format I'm using, and I can even just grab it from here, so you can grab it from here, Apache, I'm trying to install Apache. Maybe you're trying to install another application, it will be in this place. Present will be there, and then I will explain this present again. So let me just grab it from here, just to be very consistent. So, this is the apt, okay. This should be under, so this should be under task. All of them should be under task. So this name could be anything, you don't need to. So we're just trying to install Apache. Then this apt, let me see. Yeah, I just want to be sure. You see this apt now, as when we copied it here, it has the same, it was on the same line here. You don't want this, so I deleted it. Now do Control Z. So I'm just trying to tab it. So you want to give it a space so that you know that apt is under this. So that way If not, this thing is very sensitive. It will just throw an error. So, and again, this is task. Most of all this format, you can just get it. So presence is just saying that make sure it is present. So if you run this multiple times, if it is present, it's not going to do anything. But if nothing is there, it's going to install Apache 2. Another option you can use is absent. So absent, basically, if I run it again, it will just uninstall Apache directly from here. So basically what this thing is just doing is apt install Apache. Again, this is Ansible format. You can code it. And this is just one of them. This is just one. Again, you see, this is a list. Under task, we have a list. So I can decide to copy this again. Maybe I want to install another thing. In real life, there are many things you install on a web application. So maybe I want to install another thing again. I will make sure my indentations are right. So I will give it maybe install MySQL. Let me say MySQL then. I don't know this thing for MySQL. Let me just try. I can try an error. SQL, or maybe let me just say Python 3. So because this name has to be the real name of this thing, let me just say Python 3. Hopefully that will work. And then, stay present, install this name. I just say install Python. So again, you can have multiple names here. That's just what I'm trying to say. Multiple tasks rather. So, and that's why this task asks all these children and their list. Again, once you see all those dash, their list, and you see this again, you have to maintain all those indentation, the spaces. Apt has 2 children. One of them, the name is Apache, state present. Same thing with this. So just understand some of all those basic stuff. So for this Python, I'm just going to take care of the, just understand the concept. So this is the one we're going to go with for now. So let's see what we got.
Okay, let's assume if, for instance, you want to write something into, like maybe echo hello world into the index.html file on the Apache. Are you going to write it, continue with this one, or you're going to start another?
Yeah, you're going to basically start another distance. So, okay. Those things execute line by line. So in that case now, you can now have another, let me do Control Z to just put that one back. So here now you can now say updating, maybe we can even do that next class, updating Apache HTML template. Then here, of course, the name will not be, it will not be apt here. The module will not be apt. It will be maybe command. There's another one with command. Then it has argument. The argument is what will determine what you will put here. Maybe copy file from here to here, or do things, or the script you want to run. I can't remember how to do that. Maybe you just want to copy something, or just write the file from one place to the other. You can do that. You can do like maybe command. Let me check the command. Let me check command. What's it called? Modules. So if I go back now and do command, because I know there's one called command. If we do command now, oh no. Okay, I think command modules here. No, I don't want it from there. If I do command F again, command. There are so many commands. Let me just scroll to see. If you say command, then you can say the syntax to do that. Okay, this command, you see execute commands on target. So then we can do something. You can do copy too. Just you can say the format, the name, then registry, run command if this. So,
okay,
yeah, you can, yeah, exactly. So again, this is a task on its own. So these are tasks that you just do. And this is saying like create now. If you want to use this command modules to do this, and it will create maybe this database, run this shell script or whatever. So you see there's a lot of those things you can do with the command modules. So these are modules, and these are the arguments that it has under it that you can kind of, I will need to really study this to know how to manipulate it, but yeah, you can do that and it will work perfectly. So, but for now, we're just going to stick with just do the basic stuff. But yeah, it's something you can do with maybe command or even copy. There's another one, copy modules. So copy things from one place to the other. So we're just going to do this and run it against our server. So again, we're not running it here, so I'm just going to copy it. So I'm just writing it here so that we can have better format. So here, let's create a folder called play. You can call it any name, but just make sure it ends with YAML. So you can call it any name, make sure it ends with YAML. Then let's edit the file. So then I'm just going to paste our script. And again, if you are pasting stuff here, make sure you are 100%. You double check again, make sure that the indentation, everything is right. If not, it's going to throw you an error. So I'm just going to do escape, just save it and exit from here. So now if I do ls, we have our file now. So the command to now run this now. So now again, this is a master server, guys, so we want to install something on our remote server. So let's do Ansible -playbook. So this is command to run a playbook. Then you just provide the name of the playbook. So by default, Ansible know what you want to do. And in the playbook, we already specify what we want to do. So this is all what you need to do. It will be showing you all this thing, gathering facts. You see, it's running the task now. It's installing Apache HTTPD. So let's wait and let's see what the results will be. Hopefully it doesn't fail. I think it's taking too much time. I was able to connect with, okay. Yeah, it's running now. So basically now what we did is we installed Apache on our 2 server. How can we confirm that? Again, we're just on a single server now, guys. We're just on the master, then we initiate this thing, then, it said one changed, just one change, then 0 fail, nothing fail. So everything was good. So if we go to let's go to our AWS EC2. So again, we run this code on the master right here. So, but it's supposed to do something on this 2 server. So let's grab the IP address and just check if Apache is truly installed. Again, this is a node IP address. This is confirmed now. Let's check the other node, which is node 2. Let's see if we have Apache installed on that too. So you see, both of them now have Apache, and we didn't run Apache installation on them directly. So we ran it on the master. The master install it on 2 of them. And that's like the basic principle of Ansible and configure. Again, you can do complicated things. You can, configure the stuff, like Isaac was saying now, we can run some shell command directly, copy file from one to the other. Again, this is another one that I was even playing with before the class. Copy, for example, you have something you want to copy from your, again, this is here, maybe you have another file you want to copy from here to the remote server. You can do that with Ansible too. That you may just do vim play then, have maybe another, again, I don't like editing file directly from here. It will, and this YAML is very, very sensitive to indentation. When I was doing when I'm doing this thing, my Kubernetes, it's giving me a lot of problems. So, I can come here now and say, okay, I want another task, then that task, again, make sure these things are very aligned. Copy file, and then here, this thing I'm going to use is copy. Again, there's copy command, which you can see here from the, if I go to from this, there's a copy modules, and you see how to use it. You see this thing, again, you can just grab it from here. These are optional. Read the documentation. Some of them are optional. The main one that's required is destination, and of course the source. So yeah, the source. I think the source too is even not that required. This can be absolute or relative. Okay. So just make sure you know what you are doing, you know what you are copying. So if I copy this sample, I just want to copy a file to the remote ones, So, and then let me just create files. Let me create like 2 files. Let me do touch test 1 and test 2. So if I do ls now, so I have 3 files there. I want to copy all this file to the remote distance through the Ansible template. So I will use the copy command, which I store somewhere. So copy file. It's okay. You can give any name. You see this, this thing is not done properly. So make sure the indentation is very, very important. So I tab it once. So it's aligned, you see. You make sure it's aligned. If it's under this thing, it's different. So yeah, the source, I think they said the source is even optional. So the destination I want to put it is, I want to put it in the home directory, which is /home/ Ubuntu. So the source, I think I'll just leave it as default. Hopefully that will work. So let me see if I can add that to the template. So if I come here, if I do vim, and then if I'm very okay. I doubt if the space is perfect. It looks like it's a little bit out. Yeah, it looks okay now. Let me do up arrow here. Okay, I think it's aligned now. Yeah, this thing is very, especially when you're editing from stuff like this. Probably through error, because I'm not sure. So if I run this thing again, Ansible Playbook. So by default, Ansible know that we already have Apache there. That's why I skip that. So it's not going to, yeah, I know there's something wrong with that module. Using module space file exists on the remote. Just make some changes. I think I just need to give it a name. Just a test. Hopefully it will work now. Yeah, babe. Yeah, if it doesn't, I don't know, it doesn't work. But basically, they should copy the file to the.
Well, without specifying the name of the file that is going to copy, is it like
Yeah,
how is it supposed to know?
I want you to copy all the file. That's
Oh,
fine.
okay, everything. Okay.
Yeah, and even from the documentation, it says that the source is optional. It doesn't say the source is required. So it says local path to a file to copy. So let me just specify the path then. Let me just specify the path, which is the path here should be home. Path should be home/Ubuntu. So it should, by default, this is the path now. Hopefully we'll copy everything that's in that path. I think I use this. Okay, now it can even connect with the SSH. I ran into this stupid thing again. Let's just forget about this. I don't know. What happened is that for some reason, I don't know, the SSH connection, it has been disconnected right now, which I don't know why. Well, if I open one of them now, you see, that's what I'm saying. Let me open it even from, let me open it from the terminal. Yeah, if I see the into.ssh, then I do ls, then I cut this authorized user. You see, it has removed the key that we added the other time. I don't know why it does that. I don't know. I think maybe it's what I ran. I don't know. Yeah, but it has removed that key. And that's why we lost that connection there. That's why it's giving this error. If I run this thing now again, it's giving the SSH. It cannot connect over SSH again because the keys are not there. I don't know where. Yeah, remember the key we had it in the next line. They've gone. But again, I will see what's happened about that then. We'll be building on this going forward. We're going to see Ansible role. We're going to do a little bit complicated stuff with that, or this copy. You know, I'm going to run it again and see what's actually going on. But again, the basic thing is, you know, on which we did, you know, understand those templates very well. We're able to install our Apache on the two hosts. If we're running like 10 server like that, so automatically we're going to have everything running our application, and we can group them. We can do a lot of interesting stuff on them. You know, going to cd/etc/Ansible, you know, the host file. You can group them. You can do a lot of stuff on the host and, you know, make it, do interesting stuff. So Ansible is very powerful, you know, and you know, we're going to do it one more time before the, you know, then next class we're going to do especially roles, you know, see how to use variable with Ansible and other stuff, and other modules as well. These are popular. There are some that are very popular, like all those command, copy. They are very popular. Apt or YAML. You know, if you want to install on maybe Red Hat Enterprise. Yeah. Any question, guys? I know if it is just YAML, you can take home today. It's part of it, because YAML is very, very important. You know, or SSH key or whatever. So